folks, today is Thursday, March 7th, 2019. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, R. Kelly still sitting his ass in jail, but his living girlfriends, they talked to Gayle King of CBS News. We'll play you a portion of that interview. Rare justice. The former cop who killed a black man, Cory Jones, in Florida, convicted of manslaughter and attempted murder. We'll talk to the attorney for the family of Cory Jones, Ben Crump, live. Congressman Elijah Cummings' Oversight Committee investigates voter suppression in Georgia. Also, Senator Cory Booker introduced a sweeping new criminal justice reform act that will reduce sentences, eliminate the disparity between crack and powder cocaine sentences, and let all formerly incarcerated people vote nationwide. Also legalizes marijuana. What do we call this? The Second Step Act? And the resolution condemning all bigotry, but not just anti-Semitism, passes the House, but some Democrats still are not happy. And Trump's new campaign message is, I will protect you. Y'all know he's talking to white folks. And also, Jesse Waters, you know that lightweight on Fox News? How is it he can't tell the difference between two black women who are television anchors? And big hat, no cattle, Sheriff David Clark, no longer welcome on Fox News. Don't have a job at the pro-Trump super PAC. Yo, what's up, Mr. Fake Metals? What you gonna do now? And also, I'll tell you about this shirt I'm wearing for St. Jude. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
All right, folks, R. Kelly is still in jail in Chicago. He has not yet paid off the remaining child support he owes, about $100,000. This morning, Gayle King of CBS News aired her interview with two of the women. Remember, the family members have been fighting to see them. They have not talked to them in quite a very long time. Joycelyn Savage, she's 23. Asriel Clary, she's 21. Both of them live with R. Kelly. Of course, he is 52 years old now. Their families have been saying that they have been held against their will, that they are sex slaves to R. Kelly. But the two of them defended R. Kelly and attacked their parents. This clip courtesy of CBS News.
This is the first time hearing, to be honest with you, that your parents are trying to get money from R. Kelly.
Okay.
Because your father told a very different story to me last night.
Yeah, he's the manipulative. He's very manipulative, so he's the one you need to watch out for. But my dad and my mom, they started to send threats to both me and him. They said, oh, I'll put all your naked pictures all over the world. I'm going to ruin you. I'm going to ruin him. If he doesn't send $20,000 to this bank account by Monday, oh, I'm going to put everything out there and then $10,000 after that. You're trying to solicit me like I'm some hoe. I'm not. I'm your child. Exactly.
Yeah, you sound very angry with your parents. You sound very angry and very pained. Tell me, Asriel, why you're crying. Tell me.
I'm crying because you guys don't know the truth. You guys are believing some facade that our parents are saying. This is all lies for money. And if you can't see that, you're ignorant and you're stupid as because you want to be. All because that's the world we live in. Negativity sells. Gossip is what sells. Rumors are what sells.
But Joycelyn and Asriel, this is more than gossip. This is more than just rumors. These are decades of allegations against Robert Kelly.
We're not here to talk about decades. We're here to talk about what our parents are doing right now.
Right.
And what they're doing right now is all for money.
Right.
Neither one of you want to sing. What do you want to do in terms of a job or career? Are you happy just doing what you're doing?
Honestly, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I haven't figured out what I want to do with my life, but I know when that time comes, we know Rob is going to support us regardless.
Right. Most definitely. He's our full support, and with his full support, and all we need is each other.
So what are y'all doing? Gayle King reported that the parents denied Azriel Clary's allegations and that Kelly was in the room during the interview coughing very loudly to make his presence known. Our panel, Dr. Greg Carr, Chair, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University, Janice Mathis, Esquire, Executive Director, National Council of Negro Women, Robert Patillo, Esquire, Civil Rights Attorney. What the hell is Esquire? I'm just saying, what is that?
It's a medieval title of nobility, somewhere slightly below knight and higher than just the average person.
I just want to go ahead, just mess with y'all on that.
It just means you got a bunch of student loans.
Greg, can we call you?
How about that?
Greg, can we call you Esquire too?
I don't even do that. I'm not the kind of doctor that can help you jurist or PhD, so I don't even go into that.
All right, y'all. So let's talk about this. First of all, again, R. Kelly's still in jail, can't pay his child support. Yes, they tried to pay about $60,000, still owe about $110,000. And his people say it's going to be a week before he gets out. But this story also is interesting. The fact that here you have these two women, and we saw the documentary Surviving R. Kelly, where the parents talked about how painful it's been for them. One of the parents talked about being in court last week and how literally standing right next to his daughter, she would not even look at him. That she wouldn't even glance at him. He said it was as if she was in a trance. I don't care. You hear their allegations, which I need to see some proof saying the parents trying to get. But it has to be difficult if you are a parent and you can't even see your child. I don't care who you are.
I mean, in the words of the sexual harasser in chief, the President of the United States, when you're a star, they let you do it. It's about celebrity. This is about
And it's also
fame.
about unequal power. You got women who are not even half the age of R. Kelly. He's old enough to be their father. And he's wealthy, and he's rich, and he's influential in some circles. And so there's a vast inequity in their bargaining power. They can't see through what he's saying to them. They look at him as some kind of hero. And their parents, what do kids want to do always is rebel against their parents. The fact that their parents don't like him is enough for them to stay with him.
But Jocelyn said, I mean, you know, I'll take the word lies out, but this is all for money. In other words, we're living in a society where I could absolutely believe that the parents would say that, and I could absolutely believe that those young people were in there, as you said, in that unequal power relationship, seeking power, seeking celebrity. My thing is, you know, R. Kelly is someone who is now become representative of a number of things. We got mental health issues in the black community, we got sexual abuse going on in the black community and violence, but it's in an ecosystem of celebrity when the President of the United States can be caught bragging about this kind of behavior on TV. And when he says about his own daughter that if she was of age, I would be dating her, we then turn into this spectacle day after day, this circus, and it becomes about black pathology. This is a circus.
And the thing here, Patillo, for me is very simple. First of all, these women are of age. So frankly, the moment you become of age, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. The reality is R. Kelly is facing charges that he had sex with underage girls.
Yeah.
One of the people who they have based the charges on participated in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, who went to his first trial to support him, and he slipped her his number at the trial. And then when he invited her to his house, she told him that she was 16 years old. That's still the issue. We can get caught up in, well, these two women, why they should be doing, why they shouldn't be doing it. The reality is, when a person is of age, and look, if it's different if it's human sex trafficking and stuff along those lines, you're being held against your will.
That's right.
The reality is, and I get psychologically everything, but
How is it different than sex trafficking?
no, because first of all, if it's sex trafficking and when somebody is literally got you handcuffed or a gun to your head, or they're
Or
actually,
your mind
or
didn't change.
no. But see,
That's
here's the
what
deal.
sex
I
traffickers
can't.
do. They don't generally handcuff
Yeah, no, but
you.
here's the piece though. I can't judge somebody's mind. I can't judge
There
that.
are people who can.
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, if two adults are sitting in a room across from Gayle King, and the people are there, and somebody says, Help me lead this fool.
Information to believe that the parents are seeking money. Do you have any information that these girls are saying?
No. Here's the deal. I don't have information they're not saying. What I am saying is, what we do know is that he is facing charges that deal with having sex with underage girls. That's really the fundamental issue, and really why they're actually giving an interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is probably a very bad idea by their lawyer to allow either the Savage girl or the other young lady or Mr. Kelly to speak to the press. Anytime your client is speaking, he is making things worse for both you on a trial level and for any future defenses which may be available. But from a kind of a macro point of view, when a lot of this stuff was hitting, I was over in Japan, and looking at American news compared to overseas news, you realize why it's hard for us to advance in many political and social issues. Because while the American CNN was reporting about R. Kelly and Jussie Smollett and Robert Kraft, the foreign news was talking about nuclear missiles flying over the Sea of Japan. It was talking about unrest in Venezuela, where you had people being shot on the border because of humanitarian aid. It was talking about unrest in Haiti.
Oh, we are a celebrity-driven culture, which is why a reality show host is sitting in the Oval Office.
Come on, brother.
But I think in this particular situation, I don't follow celebrity culture that much, but getting beyond these interpersonal relationships between adults, let the judicial process work itself out. Allow Mr. Kelly to present his defense. If he's convicted, send him to jail. If not, then allow him to move on with his life. But we have bigger issues.
But hold on. But to Janice's point, we do have to deal with the reality that because it is swept under the rug, the issue of human sex trafficking, the issue of grown men sleeping with underage girls is a fundamental issue, because I can take this and go, okay, move it aside, Catholic Church.
Come on, brother.
I can take Catholic Church and go to the Houston Chronicle expose of the Southern Baptist Convention, literally ignoring 700 or so preachers and ministers who sexually abuse people. I can go to Hollywood.
That's right.
You have Bryan Singer, who is losing movies because the allegations of him having sex with underage boys. And so, look, the Daily Beast just reported in open court where billionaire Jeffrey Epstein and attorney Alan Dershowitz were having sex with underage girls. And so we can take R. Kelly away, but we're still dealing with a problem, Janice, in American culture.
Absolutely. We have commoditized sexual behavior.
That's right.
And we have glorified the pursuit of wealth by any means necessary.
That's right.
And if that's one thing that Mr. Trump represents, is that there's nothing that we won't do for money.
That's right.
30 years ago, I spent a semester or two overseas studying, and the one thing I learned is that the world thought then, in the 70s, that Americans would sell their grandmama for enough money.
No question.
That our values are corrupted to that extent.
Right.
And it's only gotten worse in the sort of hyper media where you got 24/7 TV and you got to fill it up with something.
And when you talk about, again, the issues that rarely get covered, I mean, I doubt very seriously you have these mainstream news shows talk about our next story, and that is the young man who was leaving choir rehearsal. Car breaks down, side of the road. After 2 o'clock in the morning, cop comes up, unmarked van. He ends up dead. That former cop, Palm Beach Gardens police officer, Numan Raja, found guilty today of attempted murder and manslaughter in the death of Cory Jones. As I said, Jones was in a disabled car. He was waiting for roadside assistance. Raja rolls up, quick argument, fires, kills Jones. Joining us right now is Ben Crump. He is the family attorney for Cory Jones' family. Ben, describe for us the feeling of Cory Jones' family when they heard the jury say guilty.
You know, Roland, it has been over 3 years since they have been fighting for justice. You know, we were on your show, and oftentimes things get swept under the rug. But his family, such a good family, such good character, they were relieved. They thanked God. They left the courtroom, and his entire family went to the cemetery, and they visited with Cory at the graveyard. It was deep. And then we had a press conference, Roland, and we came after we were at the courthouse with all of the media there. And his sister, who is practically 9 months pregnant, she's expected to have the baby now at any moment. She was asked, what is she planning on doing? And she said, having her boy child and telling him about who her Uncle Cory Jones was. And then she broke into song singing Victory Is Mine. And the whole family joined in, and it was a powerful moment because they are a deeply Christian family. Anquan Bolden, who played in the NFL, and Cory's brother, CJ, played in the NFL for 7 years. And so when you talk about Colin Kaepernick and what we take a knee for, nothing was more emblematic than that today. 3 years they've been fighting. So thank you, Roland, for being on the story when a lot of people forgot about it, and now everybody is trying to talk about it again. But we got to keep our stories alive because Cory was the best that we had to offer.
Well, and that's the point, Ben. I mean, the reality is we can go a number of cases. We could talk about when those black women were raped by the cop in Holtzclaw in Oklahoma City. Frankly, look, mainstream media, they ignored it, didn't cover the trial. We kept covering it every single day. This is also why I keep telling people why they got to help us keep this show, Roland Martin Unfiltered, on the air, because there's no other show in America that daily that is talking about black folks, talking to black people in our issues. And when you talk about this trial here, I mean, it was just undeniable. First of all, we're going to play right now, folks. This is the cops debriefing Numan Raja after he killed Cory Jones.
I thought it was a disabled vehicle on the side of the road or an abandoned vehicle. So I saw this vehicle and everything, and I was like, okay, I've got this vehicle on the side of the road, and, I'm going to check out with it, make sure everything's okay. I didn't think there was anybody in there, and as I got close to the vehicle, and the door swung open, and this guy jumps up, and I immediately got out of the van, and he's like, I'm okay, man. And at which point I said, hey, man, police, can I help you? And the second I said police, he jumped back, and I clearly remember him drawing and pointing a gun at me. I saw that silver muzzle, and he had, I can swear on this, he had a Laser Max laser in the guide rod in the gun, and I saw that red light of that Laser Max flashing at me, and I immediately just shouted, drop the gun, and sorry. It's like, take a deep breath. I remember pulling the trigger, I think 2 to 3 times.
Now, then, of course, Ben Crump, we're about to play this second video. They're going to have you comment. Folks, this is the audio of Cory Jones on the phone with roadside assistance proving everything you just heard was a damn lie.
Is there any buildings, landmarks, anything like that that I could use to pinpoint your address?
Stop. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Get your fucking hands up. Get your fucking hands up.
Oh my gosh.
Ben, it wasn't even 10 seconds before Raja pumped those bullets into Cory Jones.
Roland, and first before I go on, I know you have one of my sheroes there, Janice Mathis. So I want to show some respect because she's a great lawyer as well. But I want to say this. Can you imagine, now that the truth has come out today and we achieved this historic victory, the first time a police officer has been convicted of killing a black person in the state of Florida in at least 34 years. And so this is not only a victory over police brutality, but it's also a victory over stand your ground, because he had the audacity to say that he was standing his ground. And can you imagine if we did not have that tow truck company recording? He would have got away with murder. This young man with no criminal history was a prince of a man from everybody's description. But it makes me wonder, Roland Martin, how many other black men have been killed in America by police officers, and they lied and got away with murder because there was no audio recording or no video recording of it.
Right, and absolutely, of course, then, you know, we all thought after Rodney King, video is going to make the difference, but the reality is we have seen numerous cases where we have video. You just had, of course, the Department of Justice refuse to file civil rights charges against the woman who killed Terrence Crutcher. We had the video of him with his hands up, with him walking slowly, and no other cop firing their gun except her. We, of course, know what happened, the story out of Stephon Clark out of Sacramento, where they're still protesting as well. And it's the same thing. And so this is where, and then, you know, the crazy part is you still have police who will defend guys like that, even though now we know he was absolutely lying.
Absolutely. And Roland, you know, not only was it a lie, you do know at the end of the recording for your audience that when he called 911 on his cell phone because he left his police vest identifying himself as a police in the car, as well as his police-issued service revolver, he shot him with his private gun, and he called on his private cell phone, the 911 call, and tried to cover it up, saying, I got shots fired. I'm chasing somebody, and he shoots 3 more shots. But the FBI reenactment proved that he had already shot Cory Jones, and Cory Jones was on the ground dying when he made that call to try to conspire to cover up this lie. And it's just one of those situations where today, if the Instagram feed has over 1 million views on it, if you look at Cory Jones' family, I mean, such a good family. And it goes for the notion, Roland Martin, that any of us are targets. Mm-hmm. You know, they like to say, just, they got to be thugs or nefarious. That don't happen to good people. Man, Roland, Cory Jones, his softball team, little black girls and white girls were at the courthouse today, who he had helped coach softball. The children he had volunteered to learn how to beat the drums today were at the courthouse. And so when we're singing "Victory is Mine, Satan Get Thee Behind," that is who Cory Jones was. He was a good young man brought up in a Christian church. Yep. And he was the best of us, but this guy shot and killed him for no other reason, I believe, than he was black.
Ben Crump, we appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Roland.
Real quick here, go to our panel. First of all, thank goodness this jury returned a guilty verdict. I mean, it is rare to have a former cop found guilty of killing, not just anybody, but definitely killing somebody black.
It's true, Roland, but I worry about this, though, brother. How our expectations have become diminished. Yep. This is not belittle this is great, but this is not justice. This brother would be alive if there was justice. Yep. Justice would be if somebody roll up on you like that, you drop them, you blow their brains out if you have to, and you'll stand your ground. There's no justice for us. You can't bring this man back to life. Betty, what's her name? Betty Shelby is working 30 miles outside of Tulsa at another place.
Teaching cops.
Absolutely. After the cold-blooded murder of Terrence Crutcher, and the Justice Department decided 4 or 5 days ago not to bring her up on civil rights justice. There is no justice for black women and men in this country, and this victory notwithstanding.
Let's understand the importance that in this 2020 election that we as a community have to place on reforming our criminal justice system and reforming the way that we treat these cops. We have to update the civil rights laws that have been on the books since the 1960s so that they are more effective, because right now they might as well not be on the books. If someone like Betty Shelby doesn't get charged with a civil rights violation, if George Zimmerman doesn't get charged with a civil rights violation, then just take the law off the books.
First of all, we have no resolution, Janice, on the cop who killed Eric Garner.
Wow. That's correct. And
I think this year's the 5th anniversary of his death.
It is.
When you talk about amending and correcting the criminal justice system, the civil justice system, you really got to look at the presumptions that are built into the law. The law is bent in favor of police use of force. That's right. The presumption is the king can do no wrong, sovereign immunity. It is most difficult. Robert and I sued the state of Georgia over Stand Your Ground when it was first, it was been a dozen years ago, almost that long. You're talking about fundamental change to the way the law is structured and the suppositions that are built into it before you're going to get meaningful change. Yeah, I love the fact that you had an FBI investigation that produced the evidence that could overcome the jury's doubt.
Right.
But that's like spooning out the ocean with a teaspoon.
Lord have mercy.
And here's the piece. Robert made the point. It's very simple. You see the reaction in Sacramento to the DA who wouldn't charge those cops. That means we have to elect new DAs.
That's right.
We have to connect the dots. There's a whole bunch of people out there right now who are running their damn mouths focused on those folks who are running for president. But if you ignore DAs and you ignore judges and you ignore mayors where they have city manager form of government, where the city council is going to be picking the police chief, well, then you're doing a disservice. All these people who run their mouths talking about, what they care about, how they must change things, you sound like a damn fool if you say, I'm not going to vote as a result. Voting is one way of doing it. I interviewed Annie Pearl Ivory in Selma. That sister has been to jail more than 50 times. They took beatings. She told me a story of one sister who got beat one sister who they put in a state prison with men. She said, Roland, she never told me what happened to her, but she never returned to the movement. My God. And she did it when it came to the issue of voting. You can be outraged and upset and mad, but if you sit your ass at home on election day, then you're part of the problem. It's as simple as that. No excuses. And so you'll be able to get justice for Corey Jones and then Stephon Clark and so many others if we throw out these people and you elect folks like Krasner in Philadelphia and Wesley Bell in St. Louis and Marilyn Mosby here in Baltimore County, Aramis Ayala, who's there in Florida. That's how we're able to do it. I'm going to a break right now. We'll be back on Roland Martin Unfiltered in just a moment. Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. All right, folks, of course, we are in March, moving towards the summer season. Many of you, of course, would love to get yourself in shape for a beach season or when it's time for you to travel and have a little fun. One of the ways you can get your body right is trying the D-Herbs Full Body Cleanse. That's right. If you want to remove processed food and toxic food, lose weight, and improve your overall well-being, getting you more energy, this is one way to do it. The folks at D-Herbs, a Black-owned company, they've got more than 27 different cleanses that you can try. Some 3 days, some lasting 20 days. And so you can pick which one suits your taste. Now, if you want to do that, this is what you should do. Go to dherbs.com, dherbs.com, to try one of their full body cleanses to help you get rid of that toxic buildup that's in your body. Again, dherbs.com, or you can call 1-866-4-DHERBS, 1-866-4-DHERBS. Use the promo code Roland when you go to check out. So again, the promo code is Roland. It is all about, folks, us trying to get ourselves healthy and well. This is one way for you to do it. I've tried their cleanse 3 different occasions, and so had no issues, no problems whatsoever. The last time, lost 18 pounds, and it's a matter of changing your mindset when it comes to the issue of food. So again, go to dherbs.com or call 1-866-4-DHERBS, 1-866-4-DHERBS, and we thank the folks at D-Herbs, A.D. Dolphin, for being a partner with Roland Martin Unfiltered. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. All right, folks. So Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey today introduced the Next Step Act to build on the First Step Act. Key provisions: slash mandatory minimum sentences in half for nonviolent drug offenders. Longest mandatory sentences will be 10 years instead of 20 years. Completely eliminate the discrepancy between crack and powder cocaine sentences. Reinstate voting rights to former felons nationwide. Legalize marijuana nationwide. Expunge criminal records for those charged with marijuana possession. And invest money into communities harmed by drugs. All right, Janice, I'm going to start with you. What do you make of this bill here?
Well, I think that marijuana as a business is here to stay. It has medicinal uses. You hear a lot of jokes on the street and among some very upright citizens when marijuana was strictly illegal and we tried to make money off of it, we went to prison. And now that it is being legalized, we ought to be able to share in the profits. I have some reservations about the effect of marijuana use on a regular basis on brains that are still in formation, children. We don't do a very good job of keeping alcohol, cigarettes, or other poisons out of the hands of young people. Cigarette use is up now. Kids are vaping and using tobacco to vape with. And so I think we have to be particularly careful about guarding young folk. But apart from that, hey, it's safer than alcohol. And it's here to stay.
Absolutely. Cory Booker is becoming one of my favorite senators. And I think,
Democrat.
yes, I think it's, he may end up being that Ted Kennedy of this generation, where he's able to work across party lines. The things that him and Tim Scott are doing together on criminal justice reform, building bipartisan coalitions. You're getting bills that they're passing, the anti-lynching legislation, the First Step Act. They're getting 60, 70, 80 votes in a Senate where people swear you can't do anything along bipartisan lines. What's helping with this legislation that Cory Booker just instituted is the fact that you got a lot of white folks in Appalachia getting locked up for drug charges. Now their population in the prison system is starting to more reflect what African Americans have been going through for the last 30 or 40 years. So I think this nature of prison reform has a great chance of actually, even if this particular bill isn't the final form, working its way through the legislative process, working its way through the House and actually being signed into law. So I think we as a community have to ensure that we are putting the pressure on those senators, people on the Judiciary Committee like Lindsey Graham, who's going to be a gatekeeper on this, people like Mitch McConnell, who has the ability to prevent us from going to a vote, and ensuring that we make this a priority in the 2020 election. It's not just swept to the side where we talk about all these other niche issues and all these other special interest issues. Let's make sure we keep the pressure, keep the heat on this. Cory might realize that he might have more power as a senator than he ever would in the White House, and might end up being in that Ted Kennedy role going forward.
Yeah, I think probably Cory Booker is auditioning for the vice presidency.
Well, that would be a step down.
Well, just like Kamala Harris. To your point, though, you're raising about 2020 in the election. We know that Mitch McConnell, of course, will never bring this to a vote. This becomes an exercise in public relations in some ways, sadly, I think, in part because yesterday's Politico headline showed that Mitch McConnell is worried about perhaps replacing as much as 20% of the federal bench in the first 2 years of the Trump presidency. So he's got his agenda. But the reason I say that about Booker is because, and I think you're right, he may emerge as that voice. And if we were smart, he certainly might stay in that senator seat. But like Ted Kennedy, he's got his eye on the White House. And I don't know that he has any hope of winning the presidency, but I think he, Kamala Harris, and several others, in addition to trying to grasp that #1 spot, are really auditioning for the vice presidency. And finally, if they can pull enough votes out in the general election to flip the United States Senate, then this legislation can be advanced, and they'll be in the White House when that bill comes over for a president to sign.
But I think you can't, don't doubt that Mitch McConnell will bring this to a vote, because if you look at the demographics in Kentucky right now.
We didn't care about those people.
Well, if you look at the demographics in Kentucky, his own constituents.
No, I know. That's logic, though, brother. We're talking about white supremacy. Those two different things.
Getting locked up. The reason the First Step Act had more legs under Trump than Obama was because of the opioid crisis.
Well, Jared Kushner is why they had more legs.
Which is why, Janice, what the person who's running against Mitch McConnell should do in 2020 is, if I'm Democrats, I bring that person into the fold.
Come on.
Have them making the points that you're making and say, Mitch,
that's right.
Are you ignoring the folks here at home? One of the issues, Janice, that I've always had with how Democrats approach this is they won't go that granular. They won't say, okay, you're going to block it. So what I would do is, if I'm the Dems, I would bring some broke white folks.
That's right.
From Kentucky to Capitol Hill.
Come on.
Or if I'm Senator Cory Booker, what I would also be real gangster.
Yes.
I will hold a hearing.
Yes.
In Kentucky.
That's what you do.
This current wave of prison reform, like so many other issues, got started in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And it got started not because there was any sympathy for black defendants or injustice in the black community, but they would spend $1 billion a year keeping folk locked up, and it just got to be too expensive.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of practicality is what seems to move politicians like, I think, the whole swath. You go from Virginia all the way down to Texas, and you see the poorest people, the least well-educated, the least affluent white folk with no teeth, living in trailers.
Come on.
Depending on race bait, as Jesse Jackson would say,
exactly,
to make themselves feel superior. It is a scandal and a shame. What's the boy that was Attorney General?
Which state?
Jeff Sessions.
Sessions.
Yeah.
Sessions represents some of the poorest people in this country.
Sure. Right. Didn't care.
And oblivious to it.
But again, but this is, to me, how you do it. And I know somebody sitting here watching saying, oh, there we go again, because, you know, if you highlight white folks, stuff get changed. It's called America. Okay? And again, at the end of the day...
Well, that's what Bobby Kennedy did in Appalachia.
And
that's
Jesse
how
Jackson.
we got food stamps.
And Jesse Jackson. Go ask Ron Walters. If Ron Walters were here, he'd be saying exactly what you're saying.
Right. I mean, so again, so how you able, if you want to be able to have that impact, my deal is you bring some of the poorest, brokest white folks and have them telling their sob stories of their families being sent to jail for 40 years for meth, and then say, Senator, are you going to vote against this bill?
Come on.
Use them.
And also, let's not forget, part of the reason that we have a very different response to the current drug epidemic than to when our communities were part of the drug epidemic was because our drugs came from somewhere else. Cocaine came from South America. Opium came from India and Pakistan and there. You can make meth out of stuff you find at the pharmacy. You can take Drano and some Sudafed, cold medicine, and because you can't regulate that, you can't say that, well, we're going to stop Sudafed from coming into the country. That means you have to deal with the social justice and the criminal justice ramifications of it.
That's right.
And that's why you get
Opioids are prescribed.
exactly. And
right.
So that's why we actually have a chance to make movement on this, because these people in Kentucky, Chuck Grassley's now affected by this. Mitch McConnell's affected by this. Lindsey Graham, they're affected by this, so they have to they can't just give it lip service.
There you go. Now the white folks have fallen out. Now they are concerned. Okay, so guess what? That's where you use those same fallen out white folks to advance legislation as also is going to impact black folks. I got to ask y'all about this here, of course. Today, Democrats finally approved this resolution in the United States House dealing with the issue of condemning anti-Semitism. It's been drama all week because there's a lot of pushback among African Americans and the folks in the CBC, House freshmen as well, because they want to initially target Congresswoman Ilhan Omar because of her criticism of Israel. Well, then Democrats said, no, y'all better go ahead and expand that sucker. And so let me read for you the resolution. The resolution says, condemning anti-Semitism as hateful expressions of intolerance that are contradictory to the values and aspirations that define the people of the United States, and condemning anti-Muslim discrimination and bigotry against minorities as hateful expressions of intolerance that are contrary to the values and aspirations of the United States. That's one long-ass sentence. Congressman Cedric Richmond, he spoke in favor of this resolution. Okay. All right, folks. Now, the resolution did not name Ilhan Omar, but it did cite the dual loyalty anti-Semitic trope, now which condemns all forms of bigotry. Now, again, passed the House today. All Dems voted for it. 26 Republicans voted against. And, of course, Steve King, the white supremacist, who is still in the House, he voted present. Janice, this thing was drama here because you had Democrats who are Jewish who said it needed to be passed. You had some Democrats who also are Jewish who were saying, I didn't see what she said as being anti-Semitic. We discussed this in depth a couple days ago, that really what we're dealing with here is that any time there's any criticism of Israel, somebody is slapped down as saying, you're being anti-Semitic, when her point really was, I have to have loyalty to this country and not a foreign country. What do you make of the drama here with Democrats and what they had to deal with to actually get this passed?
I think it's time to coin a new phrase. not anti-Semitic, but anti-Palestinian.
Right.
All of this drama about anti-Semitism, and I'm not saying that anti-Semitism is not real.
And it is real.
It should not be condemned. But I'm saying the real issue is, when are the Palestinians going to get a homeland? When are we going to stop arming Israel to suppress people who look, frankly, like we do? That has been an abiding. Now we have an embassy in Jerusalem, sponsored by, I was on the Hill the day Netanyahu came to gloat over Barack Obama. We are wrong on the Palestinian question. There is no equity, no justice. You think there's no justice in Alabama? You try justice in Palestine. People are cordoned off, can't get to work, have to have passes in order to move from one place to another. Simple apartheid. And yet, we want to get caught up in debates about who's an anti-Semite. There are many Jewish people who think that our policy on Palestine is wrong.
Yes.
This is not a Jewish, anti-Jewish issue.
No.
This is an issue about simple justice.
Robert?
Well, Janice has been waiting on me to criticize the Democratic Party all day. This is that moment. Because I think we all get sick and tired of the weakness of the Democratic Party. We get sick and tired of... This is an occasion. This is one of those occasions where you have a situation
old enough to know what the Democratic Party...
where Ms. Omar, all she said was, AIPAC, the American Israeli Political Action Committee, has too much power over American politics. When Barack Obama leaves office, he sends money to Israel. When Donald Trump gets in office, he sends money to Israel. We have politicians who have more of an allegiance and pledge more to AIPAC, not to Israel, not to the Jewish community, to AIPAC than any other group in America. And we have to at least speak on that, monitor that, and determine why we're sending billions of dollars to Israel every year when they were just charged by the United Nations for committing war crimes for targeting and sniping children at the wall. We have to talk about the fact we're sending Israel billions of dollars while Netanyahu is currently under indictment for bribery and corruption. We have to talk about the tens of billions of dollars we send Israel while they are deporting African Jews from Israel right now, while they have forced sterilization programs against Africans in Israel right now. And the fact you can't talk about that without being labeled an anti-Semite is the reason I think this resolution is weak. When they say this is contrary to American values, this is exactly American values. This is what America was built on, this idea of having apartheid in a nation by treating people differently based on the color of their skin, particularly African people. And that's what Israel is doing right now, being subsidized by American taxpayers. And until we can have an honest conversation about that, that policy is not going to change.
That's right. And
conservatives are not going to bite you to nothing now.
Right.
Go ahead.
And Jazz is not wrong with this when you talk about, what this is and isn't about. Certainly not about anti-Semitism in many ways, because the evangelical Christian right that supports Donald Trump, who has said some of the most virulent, quote-unquote, anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic things, has no problem with funding Israel because it fits their maniacal notion of whatever the second coming is going to be and the rapture.
Funding Israel. If they're our bulwark against whatever we're scared of in the Middle East, fund them. But make them sit down and come to the table.
Sure.
Since we have power over them,
well,
we expect the Chinese to have power over them.
I agree.
We ought to bring them to the table and make them sit down and come up with a
plan. Well, and let's just be honest. Your point about
at least get our money's worth.
Your point about the Palestinians. The problem is, if I go into a negotiation, so if I went to a negotiation, and if I'm negotiating with the three of y'all, and I know that two of you are already aligned, that ain't a fair negotiation. Because I'm sitting there going, well, if it's going to take 2 out of the 3 votes and 2 already aligned, hell, I'm going to have a tough time trying to win that vote.
That's right.
It's hard for us to actually broker peace in the Middle East when people who support Palestinians believe going in, the deck has already been set. It is against them. And that's part of the deal here.
That's right.
The reason you had Netanyahu, let's put it on the line. I believe Netanyahu did not like Obama because Netanyahu in his mind was saying he Muslim.
Oh, no, he's a racist.
That's what he was thinking.
Of course.
And so all this deal, chilly relationship between Israel and Obama, no. Israelis had no issue with Obama. Yeah. You look at the polls, they had no issue. But it was, how dare you even give them any consideration or level of humanity.
Right. Well, to Robert's point, though, he's also a racist. The treatment of the black Jews, the Ethiopian Jews in Israel is evidence of the deep-seated racism in Israel. One, as Janet said, that all the Jews do not support. I mean, all the Israelis, rather, don't support. But this is something I want to talk about, this domestic.
All the Jews in this country
don't support that. Right, that's right.
But
But what I find interesting, look at these women who have come into Congress. This in this freshman class. You got Lauren Underwood out of Illinois. You have Johanna Hayes, teacher of the year in Connecticut, now out of Connecticut. They're approaching this in a kind of a different kind of way.
And they ain't scared.
No, they're not. No, but this is what I'm saying. I believe these sisters are coordinating in a lot of ways because you have on the other side.
Oh, they are.
AOC, Afro-Latina, I call her, out of New York. And then you have the two Muslims, to your point. Rashida Tlaib out of John Conyers seat in Michigan, and this young Somali sister out of Minnesota.
Right.
When they come for them, what they don't understand
Precisely.
is there's one way to understand this. This resolution today could be read as a victory. Before those sisters came into Congress with this new wave, they wouldn't even brought this conversation up. They have moved the needle.
And what happened was the Dems thought we were going to move on this.
Right.
Because the Democrats' deal is, okay, let's take this criticism away from the Republicans. We're going to move on. They were like, oh, no, hold up. Because this is also where, for the folks who are critical, the power of the Congressional Black Caucus.
No question.
By having 55 members, the largest caucus, you can't do jack without the CBC. And when Nancy Pelosi put this in, according to Politico, Johanna Hayes stood up and said, I'm not voting on something I haven't even read.
That's right.
Then they had to deal with the other CBC members and Ayanna Preston from Massachusetts.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it was so much hell in the room from black folks, Nancy Hale actually walked out of the room. But again, though.
And think about what Nancy's problem is. Nancy's got a very fractious party that she's trying to hold together.
Yep.
She got 3 or 4 different factions of that party.
Right.
She's trying to get them to 2020 without them cannibalizing each other.
But the CBC point is important because guess who's got to keep them in line? Hakeem Jeffries.
The black folks are sticking together.
Let's also not forget that Netanyahu has been in power in Israel on and off for about 25 years.
That's true.
Longer than Putin has been in power on and off in Russia. Netanyahu's been in power. We either address this or we don't, but we cannot continue just to kowtow to foreign government.
All right, so I saw there was an article today in Landon.com by Ron Brownstein called Trump Settles on His Re-Election Message. This is what he said: I'll protect you is the new I alone can fix it. His basic point is that his base is under siege from Democrats, liberals, elites, city people, college graduates, women. Base really means white people, older white people, white evangelicals, white men. So when you talk about who is he protecting them from, we know exactly what he is saying. What do y'all make of, I'm going to protect y'all from them?
There's a deeply anti-majoritarian strain in that message. I'm going to protect you from the majority of Americans.
Yeah.
I'm going to protect you from your fellow Americans who make up what we used to say was how you make policy, was having the majority of the people on your side.
Well, I like it. I like it.
You like it?
I do. I like it a lot. I like it because it's going to push us one step closer to finally finding out whether this experiment is going to work or not. This man has dropped all pretenses. He's dropped his mask, and now we're going to have to decide. And those poor white people that you all named off country by country, they're going to have to choose your race or your life. Because that's what it's going to come
to. White women.
They don't choose whiteness.
Oh, I agree.
No. But this is
many
also,
of them will. Yeah.
Trump won 53% of white women.
You're right.
The question, Robert, is will those white women choose their whiteness, again electing him?
That's right.
Donald Trump will get 60+% of the white female vote this election.
You think he's going to get more?
Guaranteed. Because
you think he's going to get 7% more?
Wow. At least 7% more. The reason is he has been crafting this message through policy since he walked in the door.
He has.
The Muslim ban was about this. The build the wall by any means necessary was about this. The Stephen Miller being in the White House is about this.
Absolutely.
The assaults on life that you're seeing in New York and Virginia, he's going to use that as part of his campaign messaging. This is what he's running on. This goes back to the 1968.
Nixon.
This goes
and
back.
his 72 re-election.
Yeah, Kevin Phillips.
72, the re-election.
Right.
This goes to Reagan and 80 and 84. There's this idea of the nation being overran by foreigners and others, protecting white womanhood. You can take this back to Jess Johnson.
Birth of
that
a
is
nation,
what this is
boy.
about.
That's right.
And this is why he's going to get 60+% of the white female vote, which is why Democrats have to have a message, which is just assuming, regardless of what they tell you, they'll wear their I'm with her shirt while they go vote for Trump. So regardless of what they say to you, what they do at the rally, what they look at, have have a backup plan in case they don't show up.
So, Janice, how do Democrats counter that? What do they say to those white women?
Well, one of the things that I don't know what you say to white women. Other than follow me.
Exactly. That's what you should say.
You know, Miss Daisy sat in the back seat. She never sat in the front. No. And she told everybody which way to go. It's time for black women to sit in the back seat and tell everybody which way to go, because we the only folk that didn't get fooled by Donald Trump. But now what I think we do is there's some
hashtag we tried to tell you. Go ahead.
Experiments going on with lowering the voting age.
Diana Presley.
You can get married at 16. You can have sex at 16 without permission from your parents. You can get a job at 16. You can get a driver's license at 16. You can drop out of school at 16. You ought to be able to vote at 16. That would temporarily solve our demographic problem.
But you see what McConnell did, and they asked him, why won't you put this House bill on it? Oh, no, because I get to choose. The back of Mitch McConnell, the political back of Mitch McConnell, must be broken before any of this.
And the place to do it is in Kentucky.
I agree.
There you go.
With that strategy Roland said. All
right, folks. An unidentified young black girl body was found in a duffel bag in Hacienda Heights, a suburb in Los Angeles County yesterday. This is a photo of her. L.A. County Sheriff Department believes that she was left there at some point Sunday evening. She's believed to be between the ages of 8 and 13 years old. Investigators say there were no signs of trauma found on her body. Anyone with information pertaining to the case is encouraged to contact Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department at 323-890-5500, 323-890-5500. If you want to remain anonymous, you are encouraged to contact Crime Stoppers at 800-222-TIPS, 800-222-TIPS. All right, folks, going to a break. When we come back, I got something to say about Sheriff Clark. This is Roland Martin Unfiltered. Go around.
Love is like a virus. It can happen to anybody at any time. Novelist and poet Maya Angelou.
All right, y'all. HBC-You Giving Day. Our school is Lawson State Community College, founded in 1949, located in Birmingham, Alabama. Notable graduates include Johnny High, Mikhail Gladness, and Cody Clark. You can go to lawsonstate.edu, lawsonstate.edu, to support them. All right, folks, calling all HBCU alumni, students, and leaders, enter the Ford Motor Company HBCU Mobility Challenge and win $25,000 for your school. Building on their long-term support of HBCUs, Ford is looking to improve mobility in HBCU communities through innovative solutions. The winning program will receive a grant up to $25,000 to implement their proposal. The deadline to apply is March 31st, 2019. Go to this site, FGB.Life, FGB.Life, for more information and to apply. Ford goes further in our community, and we thank them for being a partner here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right, folks. So let's go ahead and talk about crazy white folks. Okay, well, actually, no, we're going to talk about crazy white folks. Okay, so Jesse Waters is one of them, works at Fox News. He cannot tell the difference between two black women. They were talking the other day about Gayle King's interview with R. Kelly. This fool said this.
I agree. Hats off to Gayle King for totally redeeming herself after the Smollett fiasco.
Oh. Jedediah, you know...
That was not Gayle King.
Oh, I knew that.
Robin Roberts did the Smollett
Robin
interview.
Roberts.
Yeah.
Jedediah, one of the things that I think lots of people
Sorry for Robin Roberts out there.
Go right ahead, Jesse. It's cool.
I apologize.
It's cool.
Go to them. Go to them.
What? What was Wine Williams doing Negro-splaining? It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Be quiet, Wine. Just sit there and be quiet. Let the man take an L.
Well, I think it might be because they put a different blonde woman next to Juan every day.
Oh,
and he can't tell them apart either.
Juan can't tell them apart either.
I don't quite understand. I don't understand it. All right, y'all, let me talk about this next story here. Y'all know Sheriff David Clark used to be a sheriff in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. The one who was so scared he was going to get his ass whooped in re-election that he chose not to run. Then he thought he was going to get appointed to several positions in the Trump administration, and he kept getting blocked because he ignorant. The same one with them fake-ass medals he's always wearing on his shirt. You know, probably, remember the scene from I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker? I won this one for typing.
Yep.
I won this one for shorthand, and that's Sheriff David Clark. Well, here's the deal. The Daily Beast is reporting that he ain't been on Fox News in like a year. An insider said his comments kept getting so crazy, they finally said, yo, that's it. Let me explain something, y'all. If Fox News say your ass too crazy, for them, your ass is crazy. That's David Clark. But not only that, he ain't even got his other job, okay? He was a commentator with the Trump super PAC, America First Action. Now, remember I used to get the emails from the publicists saying, hey, Sheriff Clark is available to come on. I ain't got one in a while. I'm going to look up in a second and see when last time I got one. And part of the deal, he was getting paid for that because so he could go on television and tout Trump. Well, hell, if Fox News say your ass can't come on and you don't get on Fox Business, we know MSNBC ain't going to call that fool. CNN might call him. But the reality is he ain't getting booked. Now, also, tried to invite him here, but then he got scared. He didn't want to come. Then a little punk ass blocked me on Twitter. But that's what was expected. But I mean,
remember what you did to him that time on TV One?
I'm just
when
saying.
He was in the other studio.
I'm just saying.
Oh, Clark is here. Tell him to come down here.
Bring his ass.
That was
Come on.
so. I think that he had enough that day, man. He didn't want that smoke after that.
Come on, Sheriff Clark. Come on. You see that picture right here? Your ass all hat, no cattle. That's what it is. See, Robert, he don't really want to debate. See, he like Candace Clark. He ain't really trying to come talk to black people. He really wants to be a black person talking to white people about black people, but they don't want to come talk to black people.
Well, I think this is a perfect example of what I call the sizzle nature of political commentary now, which is that instead of having people who are competent, educated, experienced political strategist or analyst on, they'll find somebody they met off YouTube. Like, oh, that person has 2 million views on YouTube, so they clearly can come talk about politics. You look it up, they have like an associate's degree in art or something, and that's your political commentators. Now, we have to get back to having fact-based discussions, less based on sizzle and headlines, not based on getting social media views or going viral, but really deeply discussing issues in the African-American community and in America at large, where we can have a productive dialogue. Because, like I said, when you're looking at American news from overseas, we look like this is a nation in decline that's about to collapse any day.
And real simple,
get things better.
And Greg, for me, real simple. And I keep saying that I ain't afraid to debate nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Yeah. But there's nothing worse to me than these crazy Negroes who go on these shows who trash black people and they don't want to come talk to black people. So for like that little boy, C.J. Pearson, okay, white conservatives love him.
Yes.
So he tried to tweet me today. I said, oh, the little child is back. All these white folks tweet me, oh, you got mad. He like, you got fired from CNN. Lied, didn't get fired from CNN, little boy lying. But this is the joke. Oh, they loved him because he was conservative. He was supporting Ted Cruz in the election. Then a few weeks later, he renounced his conservatism. Then 2 weeks later, he's supporting Bernie Sanders. Then he's supporting Trump. And they're like, oh, you ain't going to debate him? First of all, I ain't going to debate no little child.
Right.
Grown folks don't talk to children.
That's the point.
But here's the other deal.
Yes, sir.
If I do bring his little ass on and destroy him, they're going to say, you picking on a little child.
That's right.
You can't have it both ways.
Look, man.
Let me tell you something, C.J. Pearson. I'm going to tell you what my mama and daddy told me, my grandparents told me. When your little ass want to start running your mouth and getting grown folks' business, when you come to grown folks' business, you can get treated like a grown-up.
That's true.
Now, when you get your ass whooped, don't start whining like you a kid, because my grandfather was like, look, you brought your ass in this conversation, you get treated like a doggone adult. Which is why I know how to debate, because when I got in, I held my own, Greg.
Of course.
But don't come here like a little kid and then want to cry some tears, oh, I'm a kid. Shut your damn mouth until you get grown.
That's right. Well, you understand the game, Roland. I mean, as Michael Joseph Jackson said in The Wiz, you can't win, you can't get even, and you can't get out of the game. Meaning what? I mean, Robert, your point was very important. Sizzle. Could it be as simple as Sheriff Clark is no longer has a sizzle, because Diamond and Silk, as you all took them apart last week at CPAC, they can put their coon show.
Minstrel show.
No question.
Coon not.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Coon is a bad word on the Roland Martin space. That's right.
No racial
minstrel
slurs.
Show. You're right.
Minstrel show.
You're absolutely right. The minstrel show. They can put their minstrel show.
Y'all gonna get banned.
No, I don't want to get banned, brother. That's right. I definitely don't want to get banned. Let me retract and say minstrel show. Absolutely right. In that context, though, to your point, Robert, They just don't. He doesn't have the sizzle anymore. There was
That's
a
it.
time when he could come and flex his muscles.
But
Don't mean nothing. Final comment before I go to my last thing.
But on the CJ point, I think this is important to have young people involved in the political system. So let's put together a panel discussion with him and other people his age where they can discuss political issues going forward.
Right.
And maybe somebody can become enlightened by it.
They can talk to each other. My point is, when you come on this show,
Yes.
this is grown-ass people show. That's what this is. This ain't for children. I've had children on talking about children's stuff.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is so, because when he goes sideways, I'm going to jack him. Then they're going to be crying, you beating up on a kid. So, CJ, when your ass turn 18, then you can bring it. All right, y'all. I'm proud to wear this shirt right now. Hashtag this shirt saves lives. And it supports kids fighting cancer for St. Jude. My wife and I are 2 national ambassadors for St. Jude. And so we fully support them in what they do. And so they sent me this shirt. And Alicia, let me tell y'all something right now. So Alicia, I want to get this right. Because Alicia sent me this text. Alicia Matthews with St. Jude been bugging the hell out of me all week to take a photo with this shirt. I said, look, I'm going to wear the doggone shirt on the air. You'll get for the whole hour. Everybody going to see it. It's going to be on clips and everything like that. And so, again, we want y'all to join me in the movement and get your shirt as well. This shirt, saveslives.org. Right here. This shirt, saveslives.org. St. Jude, we're supporters of St. Jude because, again, every dollar that they raise goes to children who have cancer, and upwards of 40% of the kids who they treat with cancer are African American. St. Jude was the first hospital to come up with a cure for sickle cell anemia. It also was the first hospital in the South that actually admitted black folks as well. So they're located in Memphis. They do a great job. We've been huge supporters of them. Last year, we thank all of you. We had a matching program on Facebook when I played in their FedEx St. Jude Golf Classic. We raised more money than any other celebrity who was playing in the golf tournament. We exceeded $20,000. That was also matched by the folks at Facebook. And so, again, we want y'all to support this as well. And so, again, the hashtag is This Shirt Saves Lives. So this is the shirt right here. So go to the website, thisshirtsavelives.org. And so thank you to Alicia. I told you I was going to wear it. Here you go. And all the folks at St. Jude, and to all those parents of kids with cancer at St. Jude's, look, we're praying for you, and we appreciate this hospital. Folks, they pay every single dime. Those parents don't have to pay for anything. That's why St. Jude's raises about $800 million a year, because the parents and those kids pay nothing. It's all about them trying to save the lives of children. All right, folks, I want to thank Janice Mathis, Robert, and Greg Carr for being our panelists today. I want to thank all of you for watching as well. You heard what Ben Crump said at the top of the show, that we covered that Cory Jones case from the beginning, and the other cases as well. Folks, a lot of you are watching on YouTube and Facebook and Periscope, and we certainly appreciate that. We also want you to support this show. We have sponsors, but that's not enough for us to cover what we do. We're right now looking at traveling around the country this month in April and May, covering stories, doing town halls and things along those lines to bring you a perspective you're not going to see on the other cable networks and the broadcast networks. Matter of fact, the panelists you see on this show, you're not going to see on the other networks. Most of them limit us to black stuff. We talk about many issues, how it pertains to black folks. That's a difference. So I want you to go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, join our Bring the Funk fan club to participate. You can also look at all our previous interviews and one-on-one interviews and previous shows on our YouTube channel. We want you also to subscribe to it. We launched this show in September with 170,000 YouTube subscribers. 6 months later, folks, we have 280,000. Not that many shows out there that have had that kind of growth in 6 months. And so go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com or join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar, $5, 10, 50, 100, 500, 1,000. We have one donor who gave us 10,000. This is all about us telling our story unapologetically and us controlling the narrative. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Holla! You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.
Thank you.